Okay, have you ever had that feeling where you just know the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
but then somebody gives you this advice and it just totally sends you in the opposite direction?
Yeah.
And like every part of you is like screaming, "No, don't do it," but you do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And then surprise, surprise,
Right.
everything goes wrong
Yeah.
and you're just left like,
Mm.
"Oh, why did I
Great.
do that? I've so been there."
Yeah, it's a surprisingly common thing, and what's so interesting about it is
Wait.
there's this whole psychological explanation for why it happens.
Yeah.
Why ignoring our gut feeling can actually make us feel more regret.
Yeah, more than if we just made like the bad decision on our own.
Exactly.
So that's what we're diving into today. We have this research from Cornell University.
Okay.
It was published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin.
Interesting.
And it's all about this weird thing where taking bad advice can actually make us blame ourselves more.
Uh-huh.
Like that just seems so counterintuitive. Shouldn't we be blaming the person who gave us the advice?
You would think, right.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets interesting because there's this concept called the missed opportunity effect.
Okay.
And basically what it means is when we go against what we think we should do,
Uh-huh.
we tend to fixate on the choice we didn't make, that road not taken.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of replaying it in our minds, this what if.
Right.
And that actually increases our sense of control over what happened.
Oh, interesting.
Because we could have done something different, right?
Yeah.
So then when things go wrong, we end up feeling even more to blame.
Okay, so it's like, say I'm at a restaurant and I really want pasta,
Okay.
but my friend is like, "No, you have to try the fish tacos."
Right?
And even though I don't really like fish tacos that much, I'm like, "Okay, fine."
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they're way too spicy, and I just spend the rest of the night thinking, "Ugh, I should have just gotten the pasta."
Exactly. That's a perfect example of the missed opportunity effect. And of course, it's not just about food. This applies to big life decisions, too.
Yeah.
Like, imagine choosing a certain career path
All right.
because someone told you it was the right move, even if you weren't so sure. If you end up unhappy later on,
Yeah.
that missed opportunity to follow your own passion can make you blame yourself even more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the ghost of the path you didn't take is always there.
That is heavy.
It is.
And this is messing with my mind a bit because
Yeah.
aren't we supposed to be like open to other people's advice?
Of
You know,
course.
be able to see different perspectives?
Absolutely. Seeking advice is valuable.
Right.
But I think what this research really shows us
Yeah.
is that we can't just blindly take advice that doesn't feel right to us.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance between being open to what other people think
Uh-huh.
and staying true to our own judgment.
I see.
Because at the end of the day, who knows us better than ourselves, right?
True.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how do we even, like, know when we're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we know when we're starting to ignore our gut and just going along with someone else? Are there any, like, warning signs or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it's something we all kind of struggle with, But I think one of the biggest things to look out for is that feeling of like hesitation.
I mean,
Like when you say yes to something, but there's this little voice in the back of your head that's like, I don't know about this.
right. Like, you're already kind of playing out that, what if I had done this other thing scenario in your head?
Exactly. It's like your intuition is trying to tell you something, but you're not listening.
Oh, okay.
And another red flag is when the advice you're getting just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like it goes against your values or even just your understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
Like you are the expert on your own life,
Right.
your preferences and your goals and all that.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't sit well with you, it's totally fine to question it or even just say no.
You know, this is making me think about this one time when I was planning a trip with a friend.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go hiking on this, like, off the beaten path trail.
Uh-huh.
But my friend was like, "No, we should do this guided tour thing."
Right?
And I ended up going with her idea.
Yeah.
And it was fine, but I just kept thinking, man, I really wish I had just gone hiking.
Yeah, see, that's a classic example of how ignoring your gut can really leave you with that what if feeling.
Yeah,
It's not that the tour was bad, it's just that it wasn't really what you wanted.
exactly.
And I think sometimes just acknowledging that feeling can help.
Oh,
Like just being aware of it.
so just being like, hold on, something feels off here
Yeah, exactly.
can actually make a difference.
Yeah, because it gives you a chance to stop and think,
Right.
to check in with yourself before you make a decision.
That makes sense.
And often just doing that can help you figure out what you really want,
Okay.
and make a choice that you'll feel good about.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, something else I was thinking about from the study was that they found that people don't always blame the person who gave them the advice,
Right.
even when it turns out to be bad advice.
Yeah.
Why is that? You'd think we'd be quick to blame them.
Right. It's true. And this study was looking specifically at advice from people who weren't experts.
Uh-huh.
But it does raise some interesting questions.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because deep down we know that we had the choice to say no.
Okay.
Or maybe it's because we don't want to cause any conflict.
Yeah.
But whatever the reason, I think it shows that we often take on that responsibility ourselves,
Right.
even when other people influenced our decision.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked about that missed opportunity effect and things to watch out for and how we tend to blame ourselves even when it's bad advice. But how do we actually, get better at trusting our gut?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And there's
Yes.
no, easy answer. But one thing I think can really help
Yeah.
is paying more attention to how your body feels.
Okay.
Because a lot of times our gut feelings actually show up physically.
Oh, interesting.
Like maybe you get a knot in your stomach
Yeah.
or a tight feeling in your chest or even just a burst of energy.
I've never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's not just what you're thinking, it's how your body's reacting to.
So it's like if I'm feeling that knot in my stomach when someone's giving me advice, that's probably a sign that I should be careful.
Yeah, it could be.
Right.
It doesn't always mean the advice is bad,
Okay.
but it's definitely telling you to pay attention
Right.
and really think about whether it feels right to you.
Makes sense.
Because trusting your gut isn't about being closed off to advice
Right.
or being stubborn.
Yeah.
It's about knowing yourself and being able to tell which advice is actually good for you.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I have this whole new way of looking at decision-making now.
I'm glad to hear that.
And you know what?
What's that?
I'm actually feeling kind of empowered too.
Yeah.
I have the power to choose, to trust my own judgment,
Exactly.
even when it's hard.
That's exactly it.
Wow.
And you know what? That's what I really hope everyone listening takes away from this.
Yeah.
You have this inner wisdom that's unique to you.
Right.
And when you listen to that,
Yeah.
you're not just making better decisions.
Okay.
You're taking control of your life.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's making it something that truly feels like yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect. I think that's a great place to wrap things up.
I agree.
So to everyone listening, as you go through life, remember to tune in to your gut. Trust your own wisdom
Yeah.
and make choices that feel right to you.
Great advice.